I'm marketer on the run CEO, Remso W. Martinez. I'm here with the social media maven, Megan. And on this show for this season, we're coming at you with a very simple philosophy. It's empowering business owners and nonprofits as well as their teams through our expert knowledge and wisdom, crafting methods that bring you success and not stress, and build a relationship with a focus on your long-term growth. Today, we are covering the tools that we could not live without, some of which may actually surprise you. Some of them might not, but they're the basics that we go ahead and operate with on a daily basis that make our lives as marketers so much easier. Megan, I don't know about you, but what I call like my digital marketing, like Batman utility belt, like what's been in it over the last 10 years is so much different than how it was even a couple of years ago, 4 years ago. I find that like at least like a couple times a year, the tools I'm using to do certain things, they're always changing. And then there's some that I'm never getting rid of because I've just grown so reliant on them that the idea of changing things out seems terrifying.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. I was gonna say the one thing for me is like, Facebook I feel like is always changing. Like we mentioned last episode, like, oh, Business Manager used to be a thing way back when. And then it was Creator
Rest in
Studio for
power,
a
Business
while.
Manager.
I know, really, rest in peace. But Creator Studio, I loved. And I remember when they were getting rid of it, I was like, I should just quit right now. Like, I don't want anything. I was so upset. Because, they said, oh, we're moving everything over to Meta Business Suite. There's still so many features that were in Creator Studio that are not in Business Suite. It's gotten better, and I've gotten used to it. But it's hard because, we can be attached to whatever and be like, yeah, we never want this to change. But then freaking Zuckerberg is just like, I don't care that people love this. I'm going to do what I want. And it's just
We're going to
so
slap
frustrating.
Meta on it and make it really crappy.
Exactly. And so it's like, I think that's a really important quality for marketers is to be as adaptable as possible because it's always changing the landscape. And, AI, that's just a whole new thing within the last year or two. I feel like that's
We could do an entire show just about how AI is impacting the marketing field itself. One of my favorite podcasts I listen to is called Marketing Against the Grain. It's with the CEO and it's with the CMO and CEOs of HubSpot and Zapier. So guys that know their stuff, like these are the guys like creating the tools that we can't do anything without.
Right.
And they do a lot of these really cool challenges with using chat, with using all these other open AI resources. And they were joking recently. They're like, we've basically turned it to a show that's like the AI update on tools and stuff like that. And it's wild. And I like listening to them because then I just steal a bunch of their ideas and I use it for myself. But what's crazy is like for everything that they talk about, they're missing like 20 other things. And it's not their fault. There's just so much changing. The biggest thing that impacted me with AI is, like for many years, I said that my specialty was social media and copywriting. Like when I was applying for jobs before I was really a digital marketing manager, before I became a contractor and everything, it was copywriting. And ChatGPT just completely destroyed the copywriting profession.
Yeah, really. In some ways it helped it because you can just use that to help you. But yeah, it's definitely not as needed. I feel like anyone can be a professional in it now because of AI.
I remember paying for copywriting classes. Remember Andrew Tate? I feel like depending on your
I do. I feel like for the longest time, I just did not understand the whole thing. And then finally one of my guy friends explained it and I was like, oh.
well, he's on a second. Oh God. Okay. Well, he's on my feed a lot. For a lot of people over the last year, he's just like completely disappeared from their feed. So that's why I kind of bring it up for TikTok and Instagram. But I used to sell his course, his Hustlers University course. And in that was like a whole bunch of ways of making money. A lot of people just tuned out now as soon as I mentioned anything positive about this guy. But like I sold that course for years and you can still find my link. I don't make any money off it now. They ended their affiliate program. But like I used to tell people, it's like I wasn't just selling this course because it was really good. I was actually an active subscriber. And I've taken every copywriting course you can imagine on Udemy, on YouTube, and all the specialty courses from all these like full-time copywriters and email marketers. And the one that was on Hustlers University was like really easy. And a lot of the stuff involved coming up with like a swipe file where you were basically like taking emails and taking sales copy you liked and like sticking it in a folder on your desktop so that way you could take from it later. And it's like all I have to do now is just copy and paste something I like into chat, have chat examine it, have chat tell me what is good about it, and then save it. I don't have to do a
Mhm.
follow on task. I just have to teach my ongoing conversation, my ongoing setting to just adapt and learn what's good, and over time it's able to give me really good templates and drafts and things like that. So I
Mhm.
would say that, like, the one good thing about that is it forced me to quickly, because I was good, not great. Well, I was greater
Mhm.
than some, but I was good, not great. I'm trying to be humble about it, but like I wasn't. People didn't want to hire me as often, so I was quickly in a
Mhm.
situation where it's like I could blame AI or I could learn how to do something. Last year, what I had to do is I had to actually start realizing that reels are a big thing. And a lot of
Mhm.
people can make reels, but not a lot of people have time to film them and edit them.
Yeah.
So a lot of my clients last year were like gyms and laser tag places, folks I still work with now who I film and edit and promote reels for them. And there's
Mhm.
really good money in that. And it's just one of those things where I had to completely learn how to use different tools and stuff to be able
Mhm.
to do that because I needed money. And
Yeah.
copywriting just did not pay what it used to pay, and the
Mhm.
opportunities are slimmer. Now, ChatGPT at the beginning, like when 3.5 came out, was putting out not great content, and a lot of people were just copying and pasting that, and then
Mhm.
everyone was making fun of them. But now
Mhm.
they're getting more sophisticated about it. So
Mhm.
with that said, you got to change. You got to
Mhm.
engage, overcome, and adapt. So what I've got here today is I've got a list of my top 5 apps that I use,
Mhm.
and these are things that I'm using basically on a daily basis now. The first
Mhm.
one is I'm pretty sure is every marketer's best friend, and I am talking about Canva Pro. I never learned how to do Photoshop. I hated graphic design. I'm not even the most artistically inclined person, but
Mhm.
I have built entire campaigns using Canva. Some of my best products have been using Canva. I've edited videos with Canva. I have business cards made with Canva. I use Canva for so much that if like a solar flare happened and happened to kill all of Canva, I would quit. I would
Yeah.
just be like, "I'm not doing it anymore."
It's my creator studio moment.
But Canva Pro, I remember Canva used to just be like what people would make like basic like social media ads on.
Mhm.
Like Canva has so much now because when you really think about it, Canva is an image library. It's an editing
Mhm.
tool. It's a promotional template library.
Mhm.
It's
Design.
it's design. It's like I can slap in an image from somewhere else and I can get the hex code and I could take it out of there. It's a font
Mhm.
lab. Like Canva is not just where you go to make images.
Mhm.
Canva is really becoming an institution all on its own that
Mhm.
can take people like me who never learned Photoshop and
Mhm.
have them actually like create really state of the art things
Yeah.
that just blows my mind compared to where it was like 4 or 5 years ago when I started using it.
Yeah, I think Canva has definitely exploded a lot. I remember way back using it in college for, like, my club social posts or designing flyers and things. And my first internship, I learned, like, Illustrator and Photoshop, and I took a class in college on Photoshop. So I know, like, the basics of Photoshop, but, like, when you just need something quick and easy, like, Canva is just the way to go. And now, especially with the Pro, you can do so much more advanced stuff that if like you were saying, you don't need that extra knowledge, you know? I think sometimes it's hard, like, I feel like when I had the or I mean, I still have the Adobe knowledge, but there will be things, it's like if you learn how to do it on one thing, trying to learn on another, has its curves and whatnot. But Canva is awesome for any type of, beginner or anyone looking to do
I
graphics,
think I think
video,
for
because they
anyone
have
like
video stuff now too, right?
you can do now video's limited. You can only do up to
Right.
like
For
10 minutes
now.
of footage. For now, like give it a year. Like I was telling
Yeah.
people like of ChatGPT, ChatGPT, the moment it starts to like write like real news in like real time, like
Mhm.
newsrooms are going to be screwed. And I was
Yeah.
telling people, it's like, give it a year. And then it happened in like 2 months. And I was like, oh, it integrates with Bing now and it can sort stories.
Uh-huh.
That's not good. Like,
Yeah.
well, I mean, it's good in some ways. It's never, and like what I try to tell people is like tools, especially AI tools, they're agnostic. They're neither good nor bad.
Mhm.
It's about how you're
Right.
using them and what you're using them for. But with
Mhm.
Canva, I mean, and this is a cool nonprofit tip for nonprofits, all you have to do is show your whatever the IRS form is that shows your nonprofit status. You send that
Mhm.
to Canva, and they will give you a free Canva Pro subscription for life. So
Oh,
that's a
wow,
cool
that's
thing.
really nice.
It's
That's
not
cool.
it's not in articles of incorporation. I forget the exact form, but they tell you what they need. You send that form in, they get it to you within 24 hours. The last nonprofit I sent it for, they got it back within like a couple hours, and now they
Mhm.
got Canva Pro just free forever as long as they're still using that account. And you
Mhm.
can expand your teams too. Like you don't have to
Yeah.
pay for the team expansion. You can have like 5 to 10 people working on the same drafts and the same
Mhm. Yeah.
folders and everything, which is great. When you're a business owner, like people look at this, they're like, oh, it's another tool I have to use. It's like it's the tool that like dominates
Yeah.
all the other tools. And for a
Mhm.
year subscription, I think for Canva Pro for a year, I paid less than $200 for it.
Yeah, it's definitely cheaper than Adobe, and I will say their Teams feature I think is really cool. I'm not sure. I feel like Adobe must have something like that. I've never used it specifically. We all just kinda have our own things, but I don't know, I feel like for Canva, it's very, like, advanced for what it is. Like, I feel like it's a very valuable product and, like, you get a lot for a very, like, reasonable price,
For people
you
like
know?
you who like started with Adobe, I think of it the same way that like I think of professional photographers. It's like they come out
Mhm.
with their giant expensive cameras. That's Adobe. And then someone's
Uh-huh.
like, "Can you take a photo of my phone?"
Uh-huh.
And it's like they want the iPhone photo. I feel like with
Yeah.
Canva is to the iPhone what Adobe is to like old school cameras and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
Yeah. So Canva Pro. If you're not using Canva Pro,
Mhm. They
like
I
I
don't
don't
know
know
if
what
you've
to say.
used their mobile option either, but I mean, I don't know why you would necessarily need it unless you had one of those sort of field work type jobs. Like, I don't know, maybe if you're on
I,
a
I
campaign.
use I use it on the go. Like I'm looking at it now. My only issue with it, and sometimes I have to go back and update it, is if okay, sometimes and I'm really weird. I add extra steps sometimes. Sometimes if I'm working on something on desktop on the web version of Canva,
Mhm.
I won't save it and like, email it to myself. I'm like, it syncs with the app. So if I made a
Mm,
change on desktop, I can just go to the app on my phone and then download it to my photos and then upload that to whatever,
mhm.
Instagram, Buffer, Hootsuite, whatever, and then
Yeah.
just do it that way. The problem is though, is that if you don't leave like a couple minutes between when you do that and
Mm,
you
gotta
just
make
go
sure it
and save
refreshes.
it will save an old version of that draft.
Okay, yeah, that can be frustrating.
That's the only weird thing I have. The only other thing is like I would like to a lot of what I'm doing for video is not like super hardcore. Usually I'm just adding a frame or a banner or something like
Right.
that. I think I agree. I think eventually you'll be able to upload like full length movies into Canva. I think that's the
Mhm.
way they want to go. It's like that with iMovie.
Yeah, that's true.
iMovie Pro used to be very limited. Now there
Mhm.
have been movies that have literally been edited in iMovie Pro. I don't know
Yeah.
which ones. I don't know how good they were, but like it's possible, and like people want the option for that. And
Plot
the more I
twist.
can do in one place, the better. I don't want to have to take a bunch of
Uh-huh.
different things from a bunch of different apps and stuff like that and have to mess with
Mhm.
it. So like Canva already knows that. What's great about Canva is Canva has a lot of free resources on their website to teach you how to do things. Canva's got a lot of free resources on their Instagram, on their YouTube. If you don't know how to do something, either Canva will tell you how to do it, or there's
Mhm.
someone else on YouTube that will tell you how to do it. And Canva is really in tune with social listening and figuring out what their customers want.
Yeah.
And I mean, people are spending a good amount of money on this resource. Like a whole marketing teams
Mhm.
only now work in Canva teams.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel like Canva, yeah, like we said, a lot of bang for your buck, and then it's also just very easy to use. The joke I was gonna make about movies being filmed in iMovie is plot twist. What if the Barbie movie was filmed in iMovie?
Is that why it didn't get an Oscar? Because
Perhaps.
they're
They were
prejudiced
like,
against iMovie?
it could be. Could very well be.
I don't know if the amount of pink and high coloring in there, that's like Canva's thing right there.
That's true, yeah, and maybe they came up with the branding in Canva, they just picked a pink color scheme.
Plot twist, Oppenheimer was
I was
edited
gonna
in
say I was gonna ask which one, Barbie or Oppenheimer, but I was like, "That just seems too advanced, Oppenheimer to
I don't
be."
know. Like
I think that's like
Christopher
a
Nolan likes
20.
old school. Like he actually blew something up in that movie. That could have been CGI. I've seen CGI
It's
explosions.
true.
I've seen the Death Star explode. He actually was like, "No, we have to make a bomb."
I feel like it's something 2025 Canva could do, but not 2023 Canva, you know?
They're getting close, but they're
They're
not
almost
there yet.
there. Yeah, they're getting there.
We'll be listening to this a couple years from now, and it's like, "Oh my gosh, they're editing, like, parts of reality and time and space of Canva."
Mhm.
That's how much I trust them.
Yeah, it is a very, very good platform.
Okay, the next one's my most controversial. These aren't ranked in order priority, they're just the 5 I thought
The
of, but,
list,
like,
yeah.
ChatGPT-4. If you are not using ChatGPT-4, I don't know what to say because it's like saying that you're building homes without a hammer at this point.
Yeah,
Just because you can use the palm of your hand to drive nails through boards does
doesn't mean you
not mean
should.
you should. And, I mean, it's 20 bucks a month. It's a learning tool, it's a copywriter, it's a researcher, it's an assistant. I think a lot of people the opposition I get, especially in marketing, is that a lot of people are like, "Well, ChatGPT is gonna replace marketers." And I'm like, "Absolutely no. It will only replace lazy marketers." And it's
Yeah,
all the lazy marketers who stopped learning after a certain point in their
the quiet
career.
quitters.
Yeah, like, they're the ones who are like, "Well, I don't wanna use it." It's like because you don't
Mhm,
like it, like you have an ethical opposition to it, or because you just don't
mhm.
wanna use it. Because
Yeah.
when I started using ChatGPT, it's because I had a lot of assignments and stuff where people were fired or laid off or left or something, and I had to have the responsibility of 5 people. So my
Mhm,
thing is, like, if I have to do the job of 5 people within a day, and at the
mhm.
end of the day, like, I'm responsible for all these things I have to make headway, I'm gonna have ChatGPT figure these tasks out, and
Yeah.
it did, and I saved my company, and I saved a lot of folks, a lot of money, and, it helped basically, like, keep things afloat for a while. And the
Mhm,
problem is that when I tried to teach people how to do prompting, how to, have it learn and examine things and how to get really, accurate with the prompt so that way you can get more of the result of
mhm,
what you want,
mhm,
they would just have an issue with it. And, what I hate is when I've got like, other marketers that I've worked with in other positions where it's like they just talk about all the issues of chat and all the problems of chat
mhm.
and all the misuses of it. And I'm like, are you saying that because you don't like the tool? Because all I'm seeing are the bad applications of a tool that we're still trying to figure out right now.
Yeah, that's a really
Like,
good point.
that's really the problem. Like, in right now, if you're not using ChatGPT, you're probably using another open AI tool and another service or something that you don't know. And like
Mhm,
Zapier or Hootsuite, Instagram, like
mhm,
everything now has an open AI integration. Like
mhm,
it's everywhere. The chat feature, the ability to create products,
mhm.
video, images, like
Yeah.
it's all being used. If you're not using it, you're doing yourself a disservice because the only people who are going to struggle to compete in the age of AI are the people who don't understand it. And I like
Mhm,
I went to school for political science and
mhm,
I learned all of my marketing through YouTube and through work. And
mhm,
so if I had to figure this out, and I'm still pretty like ground level with this, but I've been able to like really use it as an integration tool across everyone I've worked with. I don't think I'm that smart, but I think that it's pretty accessible.
mhm. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I will say it when it first was coming out, I was one of the skeptical people that's like, "This is just gonna replace me, like, this is stressful, whatever." But then I
Be
was
gone,
thinking about it,
robot.
and it's like, it's only gonna replace the people who are not willing to master it, or maybe not even master, but at least learn it and be enough of, like, a pro at it, because the reality is your competition is all gonna be using and taking advantage of it, and so I think people are gonna have to, like, pick up on it or just kinda get lost, and it's one of those things. Like, it's an emerging technology that we just have to, like, it's like social media once upon a time. I'm sure there were plenty of people who were opposed to it for whatever reason or thought this isn't good for my business, and now everyone is on it and is adopting it, and so I think this year that's something we're gonna see a lot of is people adopting it and marketers as individuals just learning how to use it and how it can work to make their jobs more efficiently. Because I do think, marketers do have to take on a lot, and a lot of times there's a lot of different hats, and you do have to kinda do a lot of different people's jobs. You have a staff shortage, whatever. And so, yeah, I think it really helps to automate those things and really, like, optimize your time and efficiency.
Yeah, and I mean, with ChatGPT, I mean, can it be a content producer? It can. But, like,
Mhm.
that comes with a lot of pros and cons. The accuracy, the
Mhm.
humanness, the originality of that, whether or not people are creating things like, you and I have had conversations about this, like, if I wrote a
Mhm.
book on how to build like, keeping with an Oppenheimer theme, like, if I wrote a book on how to build an atomic bomb and then I
Uh-huh.
put my name to it, it's like, 1, that's plagiarism, 2, I'm passing myself as an expert and professional in something I have no experience in.
Mhm.
Versus if I talk about something that I do know about and I had ChatGPT do a lot of the heavy lifting, and
Mhm.
like, you could question me on those things and I'm going to give you the exact same answers because you have to know what right looks like. I think what you have a
Right.
lot of, and especially the social media space, is really messed up when it comes to this because you have a lot of people passing off as gurus, but it's
Mhm.
like you take away the camera and take away their ability to find quick answers. 1, do they have the credibility to talk about what they're talking about? 2, do they have the experience to back up that credibility? And 3, do they
Mhm.
even know what right looks like?
Yeah.
Because you had a lot of people, especially when copywriters were like losing jobs and contracts and stuff left and right. You had a lot of business owners and managers who were just copying and pasting stuff from Chat GPT, and like there were
Mhm.
mistakes on there. Like it didn't sound human, and it
Right.
was bad. And it was like, you see, they don't know what right looks like. They were
Yeah.
just like, oh, I could pay nothing. I could use
Mhm.
the free version, pay nothing, or I could pay you way more than nothing or way more than like
Mhm.
the $20 subscription for
Yeah,
Chat
yeah.
4. And it's like, go do it, man. You're going to put out
Mhm.
horrible products because you're almost back to the point where you didn't have a copywriter and you were doing it yourself. It's not going
Right.
to look good. It's not going to be right. So when
Mhm.
you use these tools, you got to look at the ethics behind what you're doing and you have to be able to back up what you're doing. I think I'm more progressive on AI than others. But at the same time, it's like I'm never going to use that to pass for something that I'm not. I'm not going to suddenly get into
Mhm.
archaeology or Egyptian history
Right.
or say that, I came up with this giant idea when, you take away the product where I can quickly just look at the answers and try and regurgitate that, you still have to be able to back it up. So
Yeah,
like everything
exactly.
else, it's like you need the expert to be able to read what the product
Mhm.
is and be able to tell you that what this is producing is good or why
Mhm.
it's not good and then back up
Mhm.
why. Because
Right.
ChatGPT is full of factual inaccuracies.
Mhm.
It doesn't sound human most of the time unless you can get really good at prompt learning and everything else.
Mhm.
Like this can be either your best friend or your worst enemy. It's
Mhm.
all about what you decide to do about it.
Yeah. It's almost like not to contradict what you said, but I almost feel like it's like keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. It's like if you're that scared
Yes.
of AI, then like get to know it and figure out how you can use it to your advantage so that you don't get replaced by it. Because yeah, like it's possible, but currently you still need human review and whatnot for it. And so be that human who can review it. If you're too scared to touch it or go near it, then you're not going to be that person, that asset who actually knows how to do it. Especially because like
Yeah.
the older generations, I feel like don't understand it fully. It's as similar to like the social media. Oh, you're young, you can do the Facebook. So it's like
Can
a
you do the
similar
Chat
type of vibe.
GPT?
Yeah, exactly. Can you do the chat? But
Like I've had to like what you see right now. And this is my last comment on the AI thing. Is what I see right now is what you saw with like NFTs and like with cryptocurrency.
mhm,
You see a lot of people selling all these different products and services,
mhm,
all these different like Jasper AI and all these others. And I looked at them
mhm,
and I'm like, all you're paying for is for somebody to build prompts for you.
mhm,
Everything else is just like built on the basic open AI software and
mhm.
the open source stuff. So it's like you're paying like $300 for something that's 20 bucks, except somebody was preloading prompts for you and stuff like that. And that's taking out creativity. And my thing is like, I have a couple different, like AI tools. Like I have a AI marketing chat called Friday. I named it that because I got tired of calling it my marketing tool for Chat GPT. I called it
Mhm,
Friday. Like I've taught it over time. I've taught it how I want it to write things and how to examine things and how I want to
mhm,
do things. It came near perfect in terms of like a resource tool for creating drafts and analyzing
mhm.
information. But
Yeah,
like I still had to walk it through that. And I
yeah.
have to be able to justify everything that comes out. I know what I'm putting in, therefore I know what right looks like when I get it.
Mhm.
And like it one, you got to figure it out. My favorite movie is The Matrix, folks. Like I'm not going to be putting a neural link in my mindset, in my mind, to like change my whole mindset, my personality, and everything
Mhm,
later. So, knowing our generation, somebody will like hack it and put like Rick Ashley like never gonna give you up in the background, just like fry our brains. But like, I've taught people how to use AI tools. I
Mhm.
teach people how to do prompting. I use this for menial assignments and other stuff. My thing is like, yeah, this may have taken the job of other people who were already going to get phased out eventually. For me, it made
Mhm.
me money,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna turn my back on that now. It's like
Yeah.
once you've tasted that, you don't want to go back.
Right.
Like, once you've had like a Gordon Ramsay burger, you don't want McDonald's. Like, sorry, folks, and it's $20 a month.
Yeah.
Like, that's nothing for what you're doing. Like, you're getting access to like the creation of fire
Mhm.
for nothing. Like, you spend $20 on stupid stuff. You might as well do something on this that's gonna make
Yeah.
you money. It's a money-making tool.
Right.
Speaking of that, saving money, saving time, my third is Hootsuite. Some people
Mhm.
use Buffer, some people use Buzzsprout or some of these others. It's basically, I say this, I've been using Hootsuite since I was taught how to use it in 2019 at the
Mhm.
Washington Times. There are other tools that offer, more ease of use, better analytics and stuff like that. But if you're
Mhm.
working with multiple social media accounts, especially across multiple platforms,
Mhm.
you gotta have a social media tool like Hootsuite, which can go ahead and integrate, save you time, get you all your analytics
Mhm.
reported in one place.
Yeah.
To me, that's like a given, especially anyone that
Right.
works in social media. I don't know anyone who's not using these tools. I just prefer Hootsuite.
Yeah. We use meltwater at my company, which I feel like I have, like, a toxic love-hate relationship with, because there's certain things that but honestly, I mean, I think it is a really great product. I think there's just certain things that we use it for that I feel like are kind of unlike how most other organizations probably use it, and so, like, generally, I think it's good. I just think that our needs are, like, extremely niche and, like, specific. Not that we're that special, but just certain things we do with it, you know, that's where we've run into problems where it's almost like the volume of what we're trying to use this one sort of specific feature for isn't always the most reliable when it comes to, like, the numbers and whatnot.
There's a
Uh,
tool on Hootsuite that I tried using recently, and, like,
mhm.
I like the idea. I don't like the result I got. Hootsuite's got this AI tool that will go ahead and find, like, the most popular tweet in terms of reach and engagement from, like, the
Oh,
last
interesting.
30 days, and what it'll do is it'll pull it for you, and it'll write a custom caption for you.
Hmm.
Here's the things, like, I like the idea that it'll do that.
Yeah.
2, I'm not even against the idea that it'll draft, a caption for you. My
Mhm.
thing is that the captions are extremely biased. I'm not
Mm.
gonna say who's biased, I don't wanna upset anybody. What I'll say is that if you heard about accusations of ChatGPT being woke last year,
Mhm.
the Hootsuite one, in my opinion, is pretty much like that. So if that bothers
Yeah.
you, just something to think about. If it
Yeah.
doesn't bother you, then there's nothing to be concerned about. But like
Mhm.
the problem is that a lot of these AI tools have a bias from the people that program them and establish
Mhm.
them, and we have to get that. Which is
Mhm.
another reason I said ChatGPT. Like if you just copy and paste and put out, and you're not taking responsibility for that, it's gonna sound pretty bad. Same
Mhm.
goes for this. Like I did not like the caption it gave me like at all.
Mhm.
Sometimes I can just change a couple things. I'm like,
Mhm.
let's give it a try. This time it's like I think it's gonna need more time and trial and error to
Mhm.
figure out, but I do like that function. That's just one of those
Yeah.
things where it's like, once again, if you don't know what right looks like, who knows what you're putting out there?
That's true, yeah. I think you definitely have to have a lot of experience just on your own before, like, you're able to really, like, master any kind of AI type of tool. They have a similar thing in Meltwater where it's like you can write your caption and it has an AI assistant to, like, make it better, but I've barely used it because usually it just kinda changes it too much or it just makes it too, like, cheery or it's just a totally different vibe.
I'm not
Um,
gonna say
but
I've never had a good result from one of those types of
Mhm.
things, but I've never used them.
Right. I think too, I think for us having been doing what we're doing for long enough that it's like we don't need that tool necessarily for certain things. Like sometimes if like there's days I have total creative block and I just cannot think of a single sort of caption to write or whatever, then it can be helpful to get, the juices flowing. But a lot of times I feel like we've been doing it as long as we have that it doesn't take a lot of effort or time to think of captions and things. But yeah, Meltwater in general, I like similar features that you were describing. If you can schedule things for multiple platforms, I can schedule something to go up on like Facebook and Twitter at the same time, multiple accounts. However, And the analytics are good in that regard. If you're looking for free things, I mean, Meta Business Suite, it's not Creator Studio, but
That's the power of Creator Studio.
it's, it's okay. It gets the job done. Twitter Pro, I guess, not exactly, or X Pro.
Have you
Uh,
used Grok?
that's the like Twitter or the X AI,
Yeah.
right? I have
Grok
not
is
used it.
dumb.
I think I cannot get behind using something that's named that, if I'm being honest. Like, it just sounds like a giant or like a troll from, like, Harry Potter. I don't know, it's just very it's not like a
Apparently, it was
dumb
some,
dog,
like
you know?
it's some character in Greek mythology.
Okay, that makes sense.
Somebody really explained it to me, and I'm like, "Okay, well, that's pretty cool." I just wish they could've chosen literally anything else.
Yeah. Even the Google one, Bard, I'm like, "Why are these names just so weird?" I don't know, I just don't.
Now taking a step back to ChatGPT, like, what we've already brought up is, like, there's a ton of competitors out there. I
Yeah.
just started messing around with Bard, and Bard feels like Chat 4. So you have a lot of people who are like, "Why would you pay for ChatGPT before when you have Bard?" And I'm like, "Because now if ChatGPT 4, now I've got, like, I'm getting all the things that eventually everyone else will get later." So it's like I'm ahead of the
Mm,
game to a degree.
that's true,
You also have
yeah.
more integration tools and stuff like that. Like,
Mhm.
all these things are all, like, it's all open AI.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a matter of preference. But, like, with
Yeah.
Grok, I actually tried to have it, like, game the system for me. I'm like, "Grok, tell me how to, like, really scale up my reach and my followership on X." And it was just giving me, like, the basic stuff you will see anywhere
Mm.
else. And I'm like, "I
Yeah.
wanted, like, proprietary information, dude. Like,
Yeah.
you're not helping me."
You'd think. I feel like that's something Musk should definitely take into account because, I feel like he's had a lot of mixed reviews on
Well,
things.
he doesn't like AI. That's the other thing too. Like, he
Mm.
says that AI is gonna, like, conquer humanity, and then he puts out, like, this retarded AI that,
Yeah.
like, is not that great. Like, ChatGPT
Mhm.
4 is smarter than Grok. I've done, like, comparisons doing
Mhm.
minor tasks, and Chat 4 is still better.
Yeah.
Getting a so yeah, like Hootsuite, whatever you guys want to use. My thing, it always comes down to pricing plans. Sometimes you
That's
got to
true.
pay
Yeah,
for additional
Meltwater, I think,
accounts.
is
Do,
expensive.
how much do you pay for, like, do you guys have like a business plan or something?
We do. I don't know the exact cost that we pay, but I know, like, it's kind of weird the breakdown. Like, so we have, I think, 10 profiles on it. So we have, like, 5 Facebooks, 1 Instagram, and, like, 4 Twitters. But you can also have YouTube, LinkedIn, and I think TikTok now. Um, but I know there's been times where it's like, "Oh, we'd love to add, like, 2 more Twitter accounts," but, like, the next plan, I think, is another 10 profiles, or maybe it's another 5, but it's, like, an extra 8,000 a year or
You're
something.
you're either paying for all the resources, like the analytics tools and the features and the editing
Mhm.
stuff, or you're paying for, like, all the additional accounts. I mean, my thing comes
Yeah.
down to, like, unlike some of the AI tools and stuff that we mentioned, like, when it comes to social media integration tools, like these management systems,
Mhm.
it really just comes down to how much you want to spend.
Yeah, and, like, like, one of the features that we use, and this is the one that we, of course, also have problems with, but we wanted to be able to, like, tag our posts, like, label them based on topic so that we can tell donors, like, "Hey, we're doing a lot of stuff on this topic that you're really interested in." So it's very important for us to be able to pull those numbers, and it lets us go through all of our posts and tag them as whatever the focus is. Um, so we use that, but the problem is and I feel like normally that would work fine, but we post such an ungodly amount a day. We just have a lot of content that
That
we put
that's a
out.
big that's a big number to justify, and that could be a big time suck. Even when you
Yes.
have an automated way of collecting it, you still have
Yeah, I
to
mean, it is a big
manually.
time suck. It's like a great intern activity, but,
Yeah, I mean, that's where the manual part comes in. Like, yeah, like, you
yeah.
still have to have somebody who's gonna, like, turn that into, like, normal people speak.
Yeah, exactly, and so, I mean, it's like it's easy, it's just going through it's very, like, time consuming, though, because of how much we post, but that's the only thing where it's, like, sometimes the number like, for last year, for instance, we were pulling them year to date every month, and there was 1 month, I think it was, like, August or September, but all of the numbers went down compared to what I recorded last month, and I was like, I could see one, maybe I made a typo last month, but it was, like, every single account, our impressions number was lower, and it's like, "That's not possible." It's like there's no way. So, yeah, that was, like, a whole thing, so we had to come up with a new way of doing it, and, they were trying to help us, but I think realistically, like, it's probably a great feature, it's just we're using we have thousands of posts, like, a month pretty much, so it's like, with all those accounts, so I think just for what we were using it for, it probably was not set to be used that intensely. So,
Yeah, and I mean, I've tried. I've worked a lot with Hootsuite. That's always been like my
mhm,
go-to. I've more recently started using Buffer for small business clients because
mhm,
you could still have a free plan. Hootsuite, I don't
yeah,
think you can have a free plan, but like it's all how they package things for how they can make money off of it. It
mhm,
always comes down to, do you want more features or do you want to add more accounts? And it
yeah.
just comes down to like, how much do you want to spend and what are you actually doing?
Yeah, it's like, what are the accounts? Or don't some have, like, post counts too of, like, you can do this amount of posts a
Oh,
month
so for
or
like Buffer for the free plan, you could put up to 3 accounts and you're limited to 5 posts per week.
okay.
Which for a small business, like for
That's
the
probably all you need,
yeah,
yeah.
like that's all they really need, because I could
Mhm.
it's not like 1 week. It's like I could put 5 I you could schedule 5 at a time.
Yeah.
So like if I for some of them, it's like once a week. It's like I'm posting only
Mhm.
like 4 times a week. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
matter at that point.
Yeah, and even if you had extra 1 week, you could just do it manually or on the
Yeah.
free.
And
I
it's
mean,
like,
that's the one thing about
there are
metabusiness that's
people
nice.
behind these companies. Like I want them to make money, but
Right,
like
yeah.
I also have to take into account, like if it's free, it's free. I might as well use it. And they're
Yeah,
getting data, like they're getting all the information, all the use
yeah,
cases. Like I said, they're still getting some value, or else it wouldn't just be for free all the time. So I don't feel that bad.
yeah. And that is the nice thing about metabusiness, as much as I crap on Facebook and how annoying it can be, is it's like at
I will
least
never
it's
not hate
free
Meta Business though.
and you can tag things, you know?
Yeah. Well, we're the customer. That's why they still call us followers.
That's true.
We're going to take a break from those things. We're going to go on to another tool, which is more content oriented. And this is where I think Canva, once they can create a real, like short form
Mhm,
video thing that's better than what they currently have, they'll really
mhm,
own stuff. But CapCut, let me tell you, I worked with a laser tag place. I work with different gyms and fitness clients in the Milwaukee area. CapCut
mhm,
for templates and CapCut for quick editing tools, way superior to Instagram, a little less on par of TikTok, but I
mhm,
mean, CapCut is basically like a TikTok clone,
mhm,
and it can spit out so many different templates for different things. All you need is just a bunch of raw B-roll footage, and
mhm,
CapCut is almost what I exclusively learn. Is what I almost exclusively use now for Reels. My wife started
mhm.
using it because she started an Etsy business,
Oh,
and
that's
she had to
fun.
teach herself how to use that stuff. And she found
Mhm,
this and a few other tools. She compared it. She was like, all the templates, everything I need to create like super high end stuff that looks really professionally done, I get on CapCut. Now, when
mhm,
you use the free version, you're limited in certain features. You still have the water logo, the watermark
mhm,
sometimes, but it's like, I'm still using the free version. The
mhm,
premium version is something I'm probably going to invest in this year.
mhm,
But for people who like, and like my thing is like, I'm not a Reels person. Like I'm not a full on
mhm,
like Reels videographer, TikTok guy. But for somebody that's just really good at filming and then
mhm,
just needs a good edit and people don't need to spend like a lot of money on it, they just like what I
mhm,
put out. CapCut is my friend. CapCut
mhm.
is king.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I have not used CapCut, but one of my interns made, like, a really cute reel from it, and I was like, "Man, I should look into this more because I am, like, just an Adobe Premiere Pro, like, pro, I guess, or not really pro, but brat, like, I've just used it. That's what I learned video editing on. I mean, I guess I've worked with iMovie as well and, like, or Adobe Rush, but Premiere Pro is just what I'm most comfortable with and most confident in using, and, like, for me, it's just it's even though it seems like such a complicated tool to some people who've never used it, because I've used it so much, I can just go in and do what I need to do in, like, less than 5 minutes, it's just like it's like riding a bike for me at this point. But I
Yeah,
do think
I think
for
one day Canva will basically like create their own inside version of CapCut, and then CapCut will just
yeah,
disappear. I'm already
yeah.
waiting for that.
They should just do a merger or something,
Just
acquisition.
buy them. I almost be happier of that. Then
Yeah,
that's like one less subscription I have to go ahead and itemize.
yeah. If you're listening
Uh,
to this, Canva, you should really invest in that.
the last one on my list is my favorite AI generation tool. Now I know a lot of
Mhm,
people have a whole bunch of different stuff, but let me tell you, this is the one I go to for everything.
mhm.
Wonder AI.
Is it
Wonder AI.
wonderful?
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. I was having dinner with my wife and another couple a couple months ago, and I was talking to them about all the AI stuff I'm using. And when I was
Mhm.
talking to them about AI images and stuff, and they were bringing up, like Bard and Dolly and a
Grok?
few I don't think Grok does images, does it?
I doubt it, but I've
I
never
mean,
worked with
they
it.
would
I just
probably
think
be
it's a
bad.
funny name. I just
There
wanna
there's,
say it.
like, this really, like, nefarious social media platform, I won't say them, but, like, they had their own AI tool and everything just came out, like, super perverted and weird. But,
Mm,
like, basically, everyone has an AI image generating tool now, and they're getting better
mhm.
all the time. Like, a
Yeah.
year and a half ago, like, you wanted, like, humans
Mhm.
in an image, like, they all had, like, they all looked like Slender Man. They were all just, like, really
Yeah.
creepy and weird. And
Yeah.
now it's like you can get like photorealistic, like almost like completely realistic or really like
Mhm.
detailed, awesome photos
Yeah.
of people and people who exist, people who are real. Each
Mhm.
each app has the different terms of service, but like Wonder AI is my favorite. I paid like $40. No, I think at a time I paid $70 for the lifetime license. Now you can get it cheaper for like $40, and
Mm.
it comes with a chat feature. It comes with a whole bunch of other integrated um, tools within the app. But Wonder AI is what I use to create graphics for memes, or I use for featured images for stories. Wonder
Mhm.
AI is my absolute favorite image creation tool.
Mhm.
I even taught one of my clients because she was like, she's starting a podcast. I'm producing a podcast for a client. And this is where all these things kind of come together. Like, last week we talked about like, are you spending money on images and stuff? Like she got free music online from a license
Mhm.
free, copyright free music site. That sounded
Mhm.
actually really good, better than like YouTube Creator Studio.
Mhm.
She used Wonder AI to create the album cover for her podcast. And then all she
Mm.
did was she sent it to me, and I went to Canva and I put the title across it.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So it's like all these things are like making it so much easier. And like a couple of years
Mhm.
ago, like you want to pay for a jingle for a
Mhm.
podcast, it's like $200. You want
Yeah.
someone to create a podcast logo for you, that's like another $200 to $300. You want
Mhm.
music, that's like 120 something for the lifetime commercial license for it.
Mhm.
And she just got all these things for free and she did it herself. And she's not an
Mhm.
AI whiz or anything, but she
Right.
learned how to use Wonder with a YouTube video I sent her, and she created the perfect podcast image for herself. I was amazed.
Yeah. Yeah, we have some type of, like, AI image generator that we use at work, but I haven't really used it much, if I'm being honest. Um
Canva has one. Canva has some plugins that they give you credits for. And every month when you have Canva Pro, they give you like 5 credits. It's a text to
Mhm.
image generator like the others. They're not that
Okay.
great.
Yeah.
So, which is why I still use Wonder AI, because when you have more people using it, I think they have a better dev team behind it.
Mhm.
The products just are better than
Yeah.
anything else I've seen. That's why I keep going to it.
Mhm. Yeah, we've fed ours some interesting, prompts and
Any like
had some
creepy
interesting
stuff
results.
you get,
Creepy, but
you
also
put
just
in
kind of
like
like
something that's supposed to be like innocent, and it comes out like, oh, that's weird.
yeah, I feel like we did one we were trying to do, like, some type of Thanksgiving meme, and it just really did some interesting things to some turkeys, but it wasn't, like nothing, like, inappropriate, but just, like, very creative, like, it's interesting how it can really animate things, I
My
guess.
first AI reel I created, which is on my Instagram, go Remso, go just scroll down there. It's called
Mhm.
AI Presidents um, on Skateboards, and it has like Calvin Coolidge, George Bush, Bill Clinton, Joe
Mm.
Biden, Trump. I did that last year, so like summer 2023. The images on there, like it's funny
Mhm.
because they're photorealistic, but their faces are horrifying.
Really?
Like, they all look like you're in, like, a nightmare, like a Benadryl nightmare type of thing, like a fever dream, like, their faces are horrifying,
Jeez.
and, I just did that as an experiment, and I put it out there. I've also had it,
Mhm.
I'm a big nerd, so I had it do a slideshow where it was like, what if you filmed Zack Snyder's Justice League in the '50s?
Mhm.
And the images there were actually better. So I turned that into one else. Like, what if you made the movie Black Panther in the '60s and it did that? And it was like,
Mhm.
it's only getting better over time. But like Wonder
Mhm.
AI is, like anything else, the images that you get on there are only as good as the prompts you provide it and the detail
Right.
that you go into. So the more
Yeah.
you know of what you want, the better image you're gonna get. But Wonder
Yeah.
AI is my go-to for everything image wise.
Mhm. I'm gonna have to check it out. You've sold me in this episode on a couple things.
There you go. There you go. Well, any honorable mentions that you want to go ahead and mention before we close off?
Let's see. I brought up Meta Business Suite because even I have a love-hate relation I feel like I have a love-hate relationship with a lot of my
I
tools,
only
you
have
know?
a hate relationship with Meta Business Suite.
It's just it is a pain. Um, honorable mention to Slack, not totally in the same vein, but I just think Slack is fun. for different, inner team communications and even
I used to have a
external, actually.
company.
I've had a
I worked
few.
I worked for a tech startup that only spoke on Telegram.
Oh, interesting.
That was horrible.
Yeah, I don't like that. 'Cause, I
It
mean,
was it
it's
was a
like you have
nightmare.
email, right? I feel like the only problem with Slack is sometimes, like, I feel like I'll send something to my team in there, then it'll just get lost, so it's like certain things email is still, like, better for, but I feel like just for, like, the quick offhand, "Hey, can you do this?" Like, I don't wanna send you an email reminding you to do something you're supposed to do, like
Yeah.
and, like, the channels, I think, we have a lot of group discussions in there, but, I mean, everyone has their own preferred method for communication,
Yeah.
but
And
that's one
as
of my
always,
faves.
Google Docs.
Yeah.
Google Docs
You
is
took my
friend.
joke. That was it. It's like top 5 tools, Microsoft Word and Google Docs. Really what the professionals use.
Yeah. Well, that's about it, folks. Remember, I've got a free resource for you as we close up today's show. The Small Business Owner's Digital Marketing Handbook is a free PDF you can find in the show notes today. So whether you're a marketer, freelancer, and you just want to kind of understand what small businesses need, small nonprofit organizations need, or if you're a small business owner who's trying to figure out the language of marketing so you can work with your marketers better, or if you're actually going to hire a marketer, there's a free resource I provide to you. Megan, thank you so much as always.
Thank you. Honored to be here.
And folks, remember, if you want to hit me up, talk to me, spit some ideas, go ahead and find me on Instagram at GoRemso. That's GOREMSO. Or find me at marketerontherun.com. So we're trying a new tagline. Let's see how it actually sounds in real time. You're going to be with us in the moment, folks. As always, market like you mean it.
And keep on running on the run.
We're going to have to keep experimenting. Good night, folks.